Welcome back for this month's 5 favorite houseplants. I haven't been buying nearly as many plants as I normally do, which is surprising because I feel like I should have probably utilized the whole Christmas season and all that sort of stuff to buy more houseplants as like presents for myself, but I haven't been buying very many lately. So these are ones that have been in my collection for quite a while. There's only one that's like relatively newer within like the last couple weeks, but the rest of them are ones that have been around for quite a while and they're doing pretty well. We'll start with the newest one first though, just to kind of get that one out of the way. This one, like I said, was a purchase like within the last couple weeks, so it's surviving so far and there looks like there's new growth coming out and everything, but we'll see how it fares. It's a global green pothos, which if you don't know is basically like an enjoy pothos, but the bits where the variegation would be white, it's still like a green color. It's just a lighter green than the rest of like the dark leaves. And I just thought it was a super cute and like unique twist on just the regular pothos, and it was only like $20, which I know some people pay a lot more for them, just in my area particularly. But I was super excited to find it. It was the last one on the shelf, so I did snag it. I cleaned it up a lot as well. It was a lot more full when I got it. I mean, it's still really full, but there was a lot more leaves in there that just, they weren't looking too good. They were kind of yellowing off, just really damaged. So I just took them all off so it could focus on the new growth and focus on just like, you know, if it doesn't have great roots, putting out new roots and just all that sort of stuff. And just like all my other new plants that I bring home, and especially the ones that are like from big box stores like this one, I think it was like from Lowe's, I believe. I always take them home and treat them for pests, even if I don't see anything on there, just because I've had one too many run-ins with pests when I take a new plant home and stuff, and then it ends up infecting the rest of them. I usually also take a look at the roots when I get a new plant. I didn't for this one because at the bottom here, there's actually some roots already sticking out that look like good healthy roots, so I know that the root system's fine. It does look like it's probably really packed in tight there. Like if you can see there at the bottom, there's a lot of roots that are kind of, they look like they're just spinning around down there. So it's probably slightly root bound, but that's not a problem for me if it's still putting out new growth and if it still seems happy. I'm not too bugged about plants being root bound because honestly, it seems like they like it sometimes. And I just would overwater if I put too much soil in there because I like frequent watering. So if I did that with a bunch more soil than there is roots, then it would probably rot the roots a lot sooner. But I am super excited about that one because it's one that like I wasn't actively seeking out just because it just wasn't super high on my priority list for my wish list, which I'm coming out with a new one for like the whole year of 2022, so I can consolidate it a bit more so I'm not just randomly updating my wish list. So be on the lookout for that. But this one is just one that like, I had seen it in pictures, but it was just the prices that I had seen with it were a bit too expensive for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go get one right now. But when you see it at a store and it's like cheaper than you've seen all over the place, then it's kind of like, why not at that point? Okay, the next one was also like not a recent purchase, but like a semi-recent purchase. And this one was a Lowe's plant as well. It was, however, a rehab plant, which I don't normally do rehabs just because I haven't had the best success with them. Like I know what to do to make them better, but if they're already kind of struggling, I just have a hard time bringing them back. But it is a lemon lime, like the upright philodendron, and this one was on clearance, I think for like half off. So it's usually like 20 and I got it for 10, which is still more than I would usually pay for a rehab plant. Like usually it's like $3 to $5 or something. But this one was a good one, so I went with it. And the reason I picked up this one and not one of the other like 15 rehab plants that they had of the same kind there was first of all that there was more new growth on this one, so it seemed like it was already doing a bit better than the rest of them that were there. And second of all, there's a bit of like almost mojito style variegation on this one, which I'm pretty sure isn't like uncommon by any means, but I just thought it looked cooler than the rest. So like if you see there's a bit of like difference in the color, and I don't know enough about plants. Despite having as many as I do, I don't know enough about plants to really be able to like accurately tell a difference between like mojito variegation and mosaic virus. So it was kind of just like, even if the variegation didn't survive or whatever, I was still happy with just a plain lemon lime upright philodendron. And I've been looking for one, so I just thought it could be a little fun project to take on. I did propagate some of the bits with like more variegation to try to see if I could test that out as well with more light, see if I could bring out more of those colors. So that's a work in progress right now, but it's just a fun little like experimentation plant that is already doing quite well considering the state that it was in when I bought it. The next one isn't a recent purchase as such, but it's more of like a recent, I just potted this up a couple days ago type thing. But it's another Frankenstein pot because I love those so much and it's just such a fun little project to create for yourself. But this one was just random cuttings that I had sitting all over the house that have just been in water for ages and I needed to pot them somewhere. But if you can see there, it's a Cebu blue, a scindapsus, and a silver stripe, I believe. I don't think it's a cream splash, I think it's a silver stripe. And I painted the pot the other day too. Super fun activities like that going on this year for Christmas and New Year's and all that. But this was just a fun one. I had some Cebu cuttings that I tried to save from like a rotted stem on my Cebu and they ended up rooting. So I put them in a pot together with the silver stripe and I just always have like 15 cuttings of this scindapsus just because my main plant is so big and trails a lot, so I need to cut it back a lot. So that's how we got this one. But this is one, literally like I said, I just potted it up like 2 days ago, so it hasn't grown at all since because you can't expect a new leaf in 2 days. Like any of the new growth was already coming out when it was propagating in the water. But I'm excited to see if this one does as well as my other Frankenstein pots because surprisingly those do a lot better than even the main plants that they were like part of before they were cut up and, you know, spread into different pots. Next on this list is one that's actually fairly common. It's just a different variety, I guess, which is why I got it. And I have both my varieties here to show you, and I don't know how uncommon the one that I recently got is. Just, I don't see it as much, I guess, but I don't think it's like rare or uncommon as such. And I got this one at Callaway's, just a random one that I stopped by on my way home from running an errand somewhere. I think it's a narrow form Adansonii, a Monstera Adansonii, if I didn't mention that. And it doesn't have a whole lot of fenestration, like some of these leaves don't even have any. And then the ones that do have it are like still quite small leaves and not many of them. Here, there, like the whole plant can't fit in there just because the growth is like so wide and everything. But I think it's quite cute. I liked it when I saw it and I was just like, oh, that's such a cool one. Even like, I know people go crazy for the fenestrations and like getting a lot of them and getting like multiple layers of them. I kind of like it with like the small little leaves that don't have any, and I don't know. It's just, it's a different type of plant that I normally go for. Just because I usually don't go for duplicates first of all. And then also Adansonii has just never been my favorite Monstera variety, but this one was just kind of cool looking, so I went for it. And I need more trailing plants honestly in my house. But if we pull up a comparison quickly, I have my regular Adansonii here as well. I think it's regular. I don't know if it's like this one's wide form, this one's narrow or whatever, but this is the regular Adansonii that I have. I mean, I guess it's quite a wide shaped leaf on there, but it has a lot more fenestrations than my narrow form. So if you can see the two right next to each other, they look like cousins, you know? They're similar enough, but they definitely look like two distinctly different plants. But yeah, I just thought it was super fun to have both kind of types in my house. So yeah, we'll see how they do and how they grow. I should probably get like a moss pole for one or both of them just because they don't seem to like to trail all that much, especially this one just really doesn't like to. And I know that would make like bigger leaves and everything, but I don't have any moss poles and I cannot find the time to make them. And while we're on this Monstera train, that's gonna take us to the last plant on this list today, which is my Monstera deliciosa, but it's a bit different in the way, I guess, that it has, I mean, it's the cutting, basically, of my biggest mother plant that's right behind me. I had a leftover orchid pot that I had from some orchids that I got ages ago as a gift. So I planted up this Monstera into that pot, and it was probably the biggest couple of leaves on the main plant. When I had chopped it, it had this main leaf right here, which is perfect. There's no blemishes on it whatsoever, which I love. And then it has this plant over, this plant, it's another leaf on the same plant. It had this leaf already before I chopped it. It hasn't hardened off yet. It takes ages, I found, for this Monstera's leaves to like actually fully mature. But it recently just put out this new leaf right here, and it's got, I think, one more level or like row of fenestrations, which is super cool. So that's why it's on this list today, because it's just so exciting, and it's growing a lot quicker than I thought it would, because I thought it would like take quite a while longer to make the adjustment from being a water propagated Monstera to a Monstera in soil. but he's doing great. I just wish that the leaves like hardened off, or I don't know. I didn't think it would take this long because this is my first Monstera deliciosa. I know some people have a lot of them, are a lot more well-versed in them, but I thought that it would take like, you know, maybe a couple weeks after it completely unfurled for it to harden off, but it's literally taken like months. And I don't know if that's actually like normal behavior. So if it is or isn't, let me know down in the comments just so I can know either what to improve or just when to expect them to like actually fully mature. And I actually lied about that being the last plant because the last one's actually behind me. The last one is a boring one in some people's books, but it's just my heartleaf philodendron. But the reason this one is on this list, and let me just, it's a big one. It's trailing quite a lot. And it's in my little like puppy pot that so many of you guys have told me that you loved. But it's trailed a lot and I've only had it for like maybe just over a year. If I can find the picture of when I first got it, like in the first week or whatever, I'll put it right here. And then I'll hold this up as reference because it's still got like one of the original leaves right here from when I first got it. The rest have kind of died off because they're so old at this point. But yes, here is it now, and here is what it was like a year ago this time. So it's super, super exciting how much it's grown. And it's super surprising that it's grown this much because this is actually one of the plants that I left for like 3 weeks without watering, and it doesn't have a ton of soil in its pot, so it dries out relatively quickly. Like it needs watering right now, which is why the leaves look the way they do. But it has bounced back so much since then, and I believe that that 3 weeks I didn't water it was actually its biggest growth spurt. So I don't know, it's kind of just been a bit of a dark horse in terms of like my plant collection and how they've been doing. But yeah, those are my favorites for this month, and they weren't like, you know, crazy uncommon or anything like that, but they are just some that I hold quite dearly to my heart. Near and dear, I think that's the same, like quite near and dear to my heart. But thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, make sure you hit the like button and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. It's a bit of a slower pace lately because of the holidays and everything, but hopefully we'll ramp up again soon.